Norman from betechnical.ca here. We're just getting ready to ship this motor control trainer out. We've got our crate built and it's ready to be boxed up. And I thought I'd do a quick video of the hardware, the actual capabilities of the trainer unit itself, and some of the cool features. One of the things that you need to know about this trainer is we have two voltage sources. We have a class 2 power supply that we can plug in and into a 120 volt outlet, and then we can plug it into the controller board. And this allows an apprentice or student, technician, junior engineer to configure electrical projects in a safe environment. It's class 2, it's protected. We also have a fuse, so if they make a mistake in the circuits, it'll trip that out. So the student will be able to do quite a few projects without getting into the line power on the reversing and non-reversing starter section. We ship a standard operating procedure for safety. It talks about lockout and working safely with the systems. We ship a student workbook, and we can rebrand it for our customers. And we ship an instructor guide, and we ship them electronically also for the student and the customer to print license free for the lifetime of the unit. So all the safety guidelines are in the actual training manuals for working with these. The jacks that we ship are finger safe, so they're protected internally. Even though it's only 24 volts AC, class 2 protected, you do have that additional protection. And all of the jacks are all safety jacks, as you can see. So we're well covered. So between the standard operating procedures, the safety guidelines, the lockout, tagout, there's a lot of safety features that are built into the training package that get carried over into the training for the actual electrical student. Okay, so I'll just set these aside for a second. Excuse me. We'll go over a couple of the features: timers, control relays, limit switches, liquid level. So we do pump up and pump down. We do differential pump up, differential pump down. It's all in the workbooks. We do selector, switch control, reverse, off, forward, hand off, auto, timer functions, on delay, off delay, symmetrical flashers, stage loads, like we'll turn blowers on, we'll turn the blower on sequentially. Blower 1 turns on, blower 2, blower 3, time between each sequence, and then we'll do the same in reverse. So there's actually too many projects for me to actually talk about right now. So anyway, what I want to do before I create this up is I want to run one of our more advanced projects for you. I'm going to have to unlock the main disconnect and put some power on, so I'll get ready to do that, and we'll get right back to you here. So see you in a couple of minutes. Okay guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to run a circuit. This is a little bit more advanced. So after you complete the training workbook, you get a great foundation of working with control circuits and motor control circuits, non-reversing and reversing starters, and then you're going to move into more complex circuits. This particular circuit is used, it's called a non-plugging or an anti-plugging circuit, which prevents you from changing the directions of a motor within a certain time period. So if you have a conveyor that's rolling and you stop it, okay, you can't go in the opposite direction until a predetermined time period has elapsed. And we do that with these two timers here that you work with prior in the workbook. So you should have a good, like I said, a good foundation to be able to take on this more advanced project. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to design the circuit. You're going to design the circuit, okay? You're going to wire up the reversing starters, and you're going to wire it such that when you're running in one direction, you hit the stop button, we'll say 5-10 seconds later, you'll be able to go in the opposite direction. If you attempt to go in the opposite direction, you will be prevented from doing that by the timer functions, okay? Now, when you get the starter wired up, you have to go into the enclosure. Now, you notice that the main power is locked out, okay? And you're only to do this in the presence of a qualified instructor, okay? So I'm qualifying that for you. Okay, so we can open up the enclosures. Main power is locked out, and if you want to test your overloads, you open this little window here, and there's a test function, and you just slide that test function over and it'll trip the overload for you, and then you can close it. So you're going to check to make sure your overloads are tripped and the actual starter coils drop out and you cannot operate them. And then you can reset it with this blue button here. Also on the Schneider starters, you'll notice that there's a red stop button. So when you're testing your 3-wire control, you can actually hit that button, it'll drop it out. So what I'm going to do, because we're locked out, we're going to do some testing here. I'm going to plug in your class 2 power supply here, okay? And I'm going to run it, I'll just run it in the forward direction, okay? So I'm running in forward, and you notice that the contactor snapped in, okay? So I'm going to hit this button right here, and you notice that it dropped out, okay? So I'm going to hit the forward button again. You'll notice this green light comes on. I hit this red stop button on the starter, okay? So that tests your 3-wire control circuit. That's a safety circuit. It's a circuit that is used to protect the operator of equipment such as saws, lathes, conveyors, that if there was a power failure and the power resumed, it would resume in a safe condition. It would stop. It would require the operator to initiate a run command by hitting the forward button in case of a reversing starter, or just the start button in the case of a saw or a lathe. Okay, so I'm going to hit the stop button here, and I'm going to close this up. Now again, you're assuming that you've tested your overloads and the coils drop out. That's something that you have to ensure. It's very important to test your wiring. Okay, I'm going to unlock the main power, and we're going to run the motor, and you're going to see how this circuit works. Okay. Now, our shop is in a rural area, and we don't have 3-phase power in this building, so I'm using one of my VFD training units, and I have the output connected to a reactor, an output reactor, and we're feeding this unit with 3-phase power. Notice how the 3 indicator lights are on? So we're feeding it with 3-phase power, and we're going to run our motor in forward and reverse. It's not trickery. We're actually feeding our VFD with 120 volts, single phase, and it outputs 3-phase. There's a couple of settings that you have to be careful with. You have to set it to volts per hertz or scalar mode, and you have to set a parameter to tell it to ignore phase loss, because we're going to be switching the motor on and off on the output of the inverter, and you also have to use a reactor on the output. So if you ever have any questions on doing this, drop me a line, send me an email through the website, and I'll help you out with that. Anyway, so now we're going to run it. So we're running in 3-wire control mode. I'm going to hit the forward button here, and it's going to run in forward. Motor's running in standard rotation forward. Okay. Now here's the important thing. Okay, so we're running in forward. I'm going to hit the stop button. So over here, I'm going to just pulse the stop. Okay. I'm going to try to run in reverse. Notice how I can't run in reverse, and now I can. So what it does is the timer locks out the reverse command until the flywheel has stopped spinning. Okay, and the same will happen in forward. So now if I hit the stop button, okay, I can't run it forward until it slows down. Now I don't know if I have my timing set. Did it actually slow right down? So you can time however long it takes for the process to stop, and then adjust the timer accordingly, and then you're good to go. So it'll slow down, and then it'll time out, and it'll allow your button to start it in the opposite direction. So I'm in forward, okay? I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to try to run in reverse. Can't do it. Okay, now I can. Alright, so that's how that works. It's a non-plugging circuit. I think they refer to it as anti-plugging, sort of a dated sort of a way of naming a control function, but that it is what it is. That's what they call it. So anyway, so we're going to pack this thing up and get it out of here, and hopefully I covered some of the features on this. We have a video of it an older version. It's very similar to this, but just thought we'd give you an update. All the best.